Oh my gosh, we're back with the Nightmare Hour podcast
What?
after a few week hiatus.
Oh, yeah.
I scare you?
Yeah. I didn't expect this.
Well, I've been waiting for a long time in this closet, and you just haven't been back in this room.
Me too. I've just been like Poltergeist, where she goes into the little closet.
Yeah.
I've just been Adam. I've just been whispering that everywhere,
which is crazy because I've been in like the static in the TV saying help. Yeah. And then also simultaneously I hear somebody yell Carol Ann.
Oh no, we just got sued.
Oh no, this podcast got taken down. Yeah, well we're back after a couple weeks of chaos. There was Halloween happened, and we were supposed to do a final episode of the tropes, but we'll get to that episode, I promise. And then the election happened, and then it was just like we just needed a break from things, and it wasn't you, it was us. But
yeah, don't take it personally. We still love you.
Listen, I know we've done this a couple times now, but 2020 is a tough year, and but I think we're back. It feels like we're really back, and
we always say that though. So I mean, what makes
but we always
different?
do come back.
That's true.
We don't go out for milk and just never actually come back. We just take a while.
Yeah, we're like that cat. Like sometimes you're gone for an evening, sometimes it's 2 weeks. You might
put a sign up because you think they're not coming back, but man, we're gonna come back. We promise we'll always come back.
Yeah,
unless of course we just someday don't. But yeah, so we're here.
I'm looking
alive.
at your shirt. Is that plays? Is that like football plays?
I think so. Yes.
And but like really terrible plays, like in the shape of like none of those plays would work, right?
No, I don't even know. I don't even think this makes sense. It's also a bad version of tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's like just a bad version of tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, it's just like a madman playing tic-tac-toe.
Yeah. So it's been a while. What's last episode we did, I think was technically we unannounced a live episode during Panic Fest Tricks and Treats.
Oh yeah. Like we forgot we did that. That was more of like, hey, what are you doing right now?
No, we talked about horror and Halloween for like an hour.
Yeah, but it wasn't a planned thing.
No, that's why. I mean, technically we did, but it was an unofficial podcast. So while it looks like we missed 3 weeks, we really only missed 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's really your fault that you missed our podcast.
Well, there's some. I bet some of you were there, but yeah, here we are. Halloween has come and gone. We're now into the depths of November. We're heading.
Yeah, that's weird.
To the next holiday season.
I know it happens when you get older. Like time goes faster, but like 2020 is like really unique. Like it was February, everything was looking fine. And now it's like November, like midweek, like almost Thanksgiving. And it's like nothing happened, but everything happened. The time is, I don't get it. This year, are we like, on the other side and nobody told us? Was there an event? Like the Higgs boson explosion or something? And like we're dead?
Maybe. I don't think that happened. I mean, maybe, but you're right. This year is very weird because it feels like, and I haven't really seen a lot of people say like this year feels like it's never ending. It did feel like it was like the first 2 months went really quickly. We're having a great time, and then March happened, and then March seemed to go on. It felt like it was going on forever, and then all of a sudden it was Halloween time.
Yeah. And now we're back to March. Like the cases, like COVID's back, like stronger than ever. It's like we just looped.
Well, in our area, it's like really back it's really here for like big time for the first time. Yeah. Where like it's not just a couple of cases, it's a lot of cases. So it's a little scary, a little intense. But I haven't actually watched a lot of horror lately because I did kind of 60 days of Halloween. So it's not that I got burned out. It's that like I need to you got to take a break to remember what you're missing, right?
It's like when you have a bunch of red wine, you need to like wash the palate before you go onto the white wine. You can't just jump right in.
Have a cup. I mean, I've seen a couple things, and it's certainly a couple things since we spoke last. So I guess this could be just kind of what we've been watching, what we've been doing type of thing.
Yeah.
And then we'll get back to our regular scheduled podcasts. where we do a little bit more work. Speaking of that, sidebar, we haven't actually done an episode. I'm looking right now. We haven't done in like 5 or 6 episodes an
Was
episode
our
that.
live episode the last episode, like with Emily Taylor Center? Was that the last thing we did?
Oh, you know what?
The Final Girls?
That was the last official episode, but we haven't done one that involves a true story in quite some time. Like,
Oh
not,
yeah.
I mean, we did one. The cult episode was the closest, but really,
Yeah.
we haven't done. We've only done the cult and the Amityville Horror, so it might be worth diving into a true story maybe next. Maybe we'll do like the movies of Ed Gein or something.
Yeah. I've been this doesn't have anything, we don't have to follow it, and I don't have enough research to talk about it, but I've been stumbling back into those old the Umbrella Man stuff, those conspiracies. Like
No.
where there's like the guy on the grassy knoll with the umbrella. Like there's this guy with an umbrella.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I think the Umbrella Academy is loosely based on that conspiracy, but there's always like this guy with an umbrella at all these historic events, like, and people wonder who he is. So
who is
maybe we can talk about that guy. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, that's about all I've.
Do you think we can figure it out?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
not us. Who?
I mean, yeah, I don't see anybody else more qualified around here than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. I don't really know much about them, so you have to send me like maybe some movies or some information that tie into that kind of thing. What have I'm trying to think? Have I watched anything that would tie into that? Not really.
Did you watch the Umbrella Academy? That's good.
I'm not finished with it. I like the first season. The second season, I have an issue where they go back in time and redo, like Marvel Endgame. I don't love as much as most people because of most of the movie is just like them kind of doing it again, but not as good.
You mean you don't like the set pieces where they're running through the old movies and stuff?
No, I don't. I don't really like when they especially if it's like the majority of the episode. And so much of this is like them kind of doing or redoing over events. Right. I don't know. It feels like it's basically the same premise. Like the world's gonna blow up again.
Yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I thought it built quite a bit, and it built some mythos and stuff. I enjoyed it. I won't argue with you though. I mean, that's your given right to dislike season 2. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know. This time's been weird, and I feel like, I just talked about time being all weird this year. I also feel like I'm getting older, so like things are harder now. Like my back hurts really bad right now. That's never happened to me before. So I'm just major reason our podcast probably hasn't been very sick, like good words are good. It's just because I've been all out of sorts. So it's probably more my fault than yours. And I haven't watched mainly all I watched since we're all locked up together. I have children in this house, so I don't get to watch a lot of movies like you do, like the hard horror or the like hard R's. So I watch a lot of like family-based stuff, which we're loving The Mandalorian. That's something we've been really enjoying watching.
Yeah, Mandalorian's been great.
And it actually has me interested in like the Clone Wars and like prequel canon, which I never cared about before in my life. So now I'm going back and watching like Mandalorian episodes on Clone Wars and stuff.
There's nothing better than like something like a sequel. A good sequel I think can retrofit the thing that came before it and make it better. And a prime example of that is Ouija Origin of Evils, Ouija 2. The first movie was almost unwatchable because it was so clunky and like just the writing was there's so many holes and weirdness to it. But Mike Flanagan made the sequel, and how the sequel have you seen the sequel?
I need to. You keep telling me this almost every
how
episode.
The sequel plays out, it makes the first movie make sense and is watchable.
I don't think I've seen the first movie either, just because of how everyone talked about it. So do I need to see the first movie to understand?
I would watch them in the order of his movie then that movie.
Okay.
So 2 then 1. But I think a good like sequel treats the thing that came before it in a way that can only make it better and make those events make more sense and make somebody more interested in learning more about it, what came before it. I think when you don't have that, the yin and the yang, which a lot of times you just get a sequel that's like, let's make it bigger and better, without it really expanding much. Yeah, Mandalorian's done a great job of like, and I think Rogue One did that too, of giving us that, finally giving us the Darth Vader scene we needed to know that he is this ultimate bad villain and does horrible things to innocent people. But yeah, Mandalorian has made it more interesting for, I was never a Boba Fett fan, the bounty hunters fan. And it's made me more interested in them because it's created like this, nightly approach. And especially this
like
last episode,
KN, right?
Yeah.
I agree. And like my kid actually told me that. She's like, these are actually making the prequels better. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. like it makes it all, it fills in a lot of like those clunky elements with more compelling storytelling and stuff. So that's how good it is.
Yeah. What else have you? I'm trying to think. So I've watched. I guess if you're going to talk about anything, I've been watching Mythic Quest on Apple TV, which is pretty great. It's
I don't even know what that is.
It's Charlie Day's new show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So if you like Always Sunny, it's that type of. It's actually it's a lot more refined. So Rob McElhenney, who's also from Always Sunny, he's the main guy, and basically it follows like a team of game developers who built like a World of Warcraft style game, and it follows like their world. But there's an episode, so I'm only on episode like 6 or 7 of 10, and they're all 25 or 30 minutes, that kind of length. But he directs the 7th episode, which has Jake Johnson in it, and Jake Johnson, and I can't remember her name. It is like a mini movie that's just here. I'll find it real quick. It's
I love Jake Johnson.
It's episode 5. It's called A Dark Quiet Death, and it was written by his wife, and it is it's so good. It's his sister wrote it. Sorry, Rob's sister wrote it. He directed it, and I'm trying to think who the other character is. You've seen her in a million things. She's great. It's gonna drive me insane if I don't tell you who it is. But anyways, it's a great show. It's really funny. It's interesting to see them develop in a different way. But that episode in particular was like watching a really good indie movie, and it was just like in the middle of this whole season. There's this 40-minute episode that has all different characters and all different stuff. And
I love
it's just and it works because sometimes that doesn't work. And this was just like heartbreaking.
I love when series can pull that off, and they have like standalones that are just incredible. It's hard to do, but when they do, it's beautiful. I've been finishing up The New Girl. Like, speaking of Jake Johnson,
is this going to be a Jake Johnson crushing podcast? Because I could do that.
Yeah, me too. We've started a long time ago, Adam and I. We would have whole evenings based on how dreamy Jake Johnson is,
and how he would be he would be the biggest character in any of our movies. If we wrote Marvel's Avengers, Jake Johnson plays every role.
Yes. I was so excited when he showed up as Spider-Man. And
he was great. His voice, he was perfect.
Yeah. I was like, it made me want a live action Jake Johnson Spider-Man. Like, how great would that be?
Best part of Jurassic World was his character.
Is he going to be in the new Spider-Man? You know how they're talking about all the Spider-Mans were coming back, like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all that, like the new Marvel.
Is that a thing that's happening?
Yeah, like the new Spider-Man's like a multiverse thing, like the one with Tom Holland and stuff.
I don't know. Is he going to be in it?
He should be.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
I guess I don't read anything.
I was really excited because they're basically doing that same, like, because I think it ties into the Doctor Strange, the multiverse of madness and all. Yeah. I think they're starting to bring in the multiverse stuff, I think.
I mean, that would be really fascinating. I know we're going into like hard sci-fi fantasy here. Well, I have watched a couple horror related things, so I could drop these on them because I know you've watched one of them. I watched the movie. Well, for the first time I watched Frankenweenie. I don't think we ever talked about that.
Yeah, I remember. And it was pretty charming, right?
A very good movie. Very charming. Very made me bawl like a baby at the end. I watched the new movie Becky, which I know you watched.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that it was a breezy movie to watch because it was like 83 minutes and the performances are good, but it's also a movie that you're like, how did this get made into 2020? It's like a movie that should have been made by Eli Roth in like 2005.
Well, that, and I don't even really. I don't. Sometimes, usually rewrites are good, but I feel like this got rewritten to the point of being like just a mess. Like nothing's there anymore. There's just
Yeah,
like pieces of different drafts in here. I think that's what it felt
like
like to me.
the plot point that we don't really know about is like that there's like some kind of like Nazi tie-in here, and
Yeah,
there's and like but it's what's and there's like one like it's supposed to be a mixed interracial couple, and the mom is black, and nothing racist or racial happens at all in the movie, and you have presumably Nazis in a room with a black woman, and not
and
even
they
like a
just sit
sexist
there.
comment, no racist thing. That's very weird that they're like, why even make him a Nazi if not to have him be, you know, it's a
Yeah.
very weird plot point to have because he's arguably like fairly nice to her and doesn't really care.
And yeah, and like why cast it that way if there's going to be no payoff? It's just
Yeah,
strange. Like you cast people of color and then they just sit on the couch the whole time, have no effect on the plot
and
with these
don't
Nazi
do anything.
people. Yeah, it's really strange. And then like the thing they're all after is like totally the MacGuffin. Like you never even know what it is. And I'm usually okay with that, but at this point it seemed a little like what? Like what are they after? And you never find out. It's just this thing. I don't know. It was just like a strange way to make like Home Alone with a teen girl. It's like suddenly it seemed like, ah, it's
Yeah,
not terrible, but it's just like, it just feels like four different versions of the same movie put into one. No one was sure what to do.
and that's the movie we have now.
Yeah.
I've been playing horror video games.
Oh yeah.
Two of them. I've been playing this game called Phantasmaphobia, which is really fun. It's in beta right now, but it's like you and three people for a total of four people are ghost hunters, and you get to pick a location, and you pick your tools, and then you go into the location, and you're literally trying to the ghost changes up every time, but you're trying to determine what type of ghost you're dealing with using different techniques. You're trying to figure out you're trying to get the ghost to do a couple different like objectives, like walk through salt or something, like different like kind of ghost huntery things, and then get out alive. So the ghost like kind of kills you by like scaring the shit, like basically making you have a heart attack or go insane or whatever. It is very scary. It's a whole lot of fun. There's like watch videos online, but it's only like a $12 game, and it's
Is it
visceral.
PC or is
Yeah,
it
it's PC. It's the first PC
okay?
game I've probably played in like 45,000 years.
Yeah. Because I'm into that. I don't have any gaming consoles, so
But yeah, it's
maybe
like
I'll
12
try that
bucks,
out.
and it's a whole lot of fun. Very scary. Like the ghost designs are really cool, and I think it's an indie game, so like it's a little rough around some of the effects in there, but like and some of the gameplay is a little clunky, but it's in beta. That's why. But overall, a great game. And then I just picked up recommendation of a couple friends, Dead by Daylight, which I was a big fan of the Friday the 13th game, and this is basically that done better. And you can play as a survivor or a killer. And but what's cool about this is unlike Friday the 13th, this has like everybody in it. This is like you can play Leatherface or you can play Ghostface. Freddy Krueger's in it, Michael Myers is in it, Laurie Strode's in it, Jigsaw's in it. Like pretty much like everybody is in it, and you can play as those. They all have different characteristics. And you have different levels and maps and stuff. And the survivors try to like fix generators to turn on and to open a gate and get out alive. And then the killer wants to kill you, obviously. They have different abilities and stuff. But it's a lot of fun and not as scary as Phantasmaphobia, but I guess maybe I've been getting my horror fill in that way.
So Phantasmaphobia, because I'm looking at one right now called Phantasmagoria from 1995, and it kind of looks incredible for 1995.
I mean, buy it.
Like, I mean, yeah, kind of tempted because look at here. Let me share my screen for those watching on video. Like, look at these screenshots from it. Hold on. Ah, too many things. Did I share my screen?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did. Okay.
I think I
Look
did
at
play
these,
this actually.
like look at this. Look at that. It looks incredible. Like that's just steps away from porn right there. But that looks great. So it's like live action people, and
Yeah,
it's like
full motion video, baby.
when like Doom in the background. Look at her looking at the computer. Oh, I need to play this game. All right, that's enough of that. So Phantasmaphobia, right?
Yeah, worth checking out. trying to think. The rest of the stuff I've been watching. So I've been doing a lot of non-horror. And I don't. I mean, there's some like kind of horror adjacent stuff. Like I've been watching some De Palma movies, but nothing like straight up horror. I am gonna get. I didn't do it last year. It's been a couple years actually. So I there's the Christmas horror. I've never really explored that much, really, or if I did it as like a 13-year-old. So this year, I do own a lot of them because I own a movie theater and I've shown them. So I do own a lot of the Blu-rays of like Silent Night, Deadly Night, Christmas Evil, Black Christmas, Krampus, Christmas Horror Story. So like the big ones right there. But I haven't watched them. I've never seen Black Christmas in its entirety. It's just never really held my attention at home.
Have you seen the brand newest remake, like the Blumhouse one or whatever that was? I was thinking about throwing that on.
I might watch it. I know they're all pretty different from one another. So I did see Black Xmas in like 2004 or 5 or whenever they made that. And I remember it just being like fine. I don't remember it being like something I hated, and I remember it just being fine. But I'm gonna watch those probably closer to Thanksgiving, and revisit some of the Christmas horror films because I've never really gotten into them or like watched them like actually watch them besides Gremlins. Do you have a favorite holiday horror film?
I think you just mentioned it. Like Christmas is like traumatic for me for a lot of reasons. So I'm not really like a Christmas like sunshiny like goodwill towards everyone, like all that Santa stuff. So I love Gremlins. Gremlins is probably my favorite Christmas movie. If no other reason that just in the middle of it, she ruins Santa for the entire world in this weird monologue in the middle of the film that has nothing to do with the rest of the film. It's just tragic backstory for no reason.
Just to remind you that this is a movie for adults.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Whoops.
I'm looking at this Phasmophobia, and my fiance's kid has a Oculus that plugs into his game, and this is VR enabled. Whew. Am I going to die?
You might crap your pants at the very least. It's worth checking out. It satisfied my fill a little bit, and
might do this. I'm jealous of you of having like no small children in the house. You can like play scary video games on your big screen and your undies and like
turn it up really loud.
Yeah,
get scaring the shit out of myself. Scream in the middle of the night. Yeah, I can. You're right. I can do that. I mean, I should do that.
I'm excited for you. I wish I could. I have to wait till late at night and do it quietly.
Yeah.
I just watched today The Dead Don't Die, if you're a Jarmusch fan at all. And it's horror related, but Jarmusch is always pretty silly, and he's always got that really dry dialogue that you either find funny or you don't. It's kind of a taste thing. So it's that, but it's also like Jim Jarmusch is pissed off in this movie. Like, it's everything that like your typical zombie movie is. Imagine if Jarmusch made Dawn of the Dead. Like he's just like railing at capitalists. He's railing at like climate change deniers. He's railing at Trump supporters in this. Like he's
is it
pretty
like
mad.
really on the nose?
It's pretty on the nose, but it's. I mean, in that Jarmusch is not a subtle person. He never has been. Like Steve Buscemi's a red hatter. I think there's like a bunch of that going on in this. So
is it worth? I've heard it's very divisive, but that might be because like people who like horror have maybe never seen a Jarmusch film before, so it might be shocking. It might be like just like a weird mix of genres that people.
I think that's what
like
it is.
His films don't like horror.
Yeah, like that Venn diagram's got to be super tiny, and we're in it.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah, I really like. I think Adam Driver and Bill Murray as buddy, like two cops singing their line delivery to each other, is worth the entire time. Like it's just I giggled a lot.
Well, I have to check it out. So it was a good time. Is like Jarmusch's Shaun of the Dead?
I mean, it's as silly as it's. I think it's probably the most accessible Jim Jarmusch too. Like it's just silly, but it's really angry.
All right, I'll check it out. I did just buy. Well, it comes out next month. Criterion's putting out Ghost Dog.
Oh, see, that's one I never really cared for.
I remember liking it, but I haven't seen it since I was like 15 on VHS. So
yeah,
it was just such
a. I might need to go back and see it because I think I was around the same when I watched it, and it's just like I'd been watching the more traditional Jarmusch before that, like Dead Man and such, and like Ghost Dog is so different than all of that. I think
it's like his pseudo samurai gag
Yeah.
movie.
With Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. I mean, if Criterion's putting it out, it's probably worth a relook, and at least I'll know it'll look better than it's ever looked.
Yeah, for sure. I think I might join you.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
haven't
it
seen.
came out in '99. Let's see, it's
Yeah,
got good reviews, so maybe I think we might be on the right. And the RZA did the score. I think it's worth checking out again.
yeah. Let's do it. That'll be our next get to know you episode. We'll talk about
Yeah, I
John
love this
Moosh.
episode. Is like the episode where we don't talk about anything other than well, no, we've talked about some horror stuff. I also need to get back to reading again. I haven't read
Yeah,
anything in like a month or a month
I've
and
been
a
reading a
half.
lot of like short story collections, but nothing scary. Just like things. I've been trying to write. Writing is really hard right now.
Yeah,
Like, incredibly difficult right
I
now.
think in January it'll be easier to write. Like I just not that like for the obvious reasons, but I think January like holiday season is always chaotic for everybody. Even this year when it's like less holiday stuff, it's still like chaos. And it's hard to like focus and get like settled down. But hey, I did get. I don't know if you read this, but I know we've talked about it before. Ashley bought me the House of Leaves book for my birthday.
Yeah.
Have
You
you read
told
it?
me that. No, but you sent me the photo and was gonna you said that you'd let me borrow it because it was expensive to buy
Yeah,
or something.
it is. It's a hard book to get, and she bought me like this fancy like hardcover version of it. That's like whatever full color, and it's like I think it's a little bit easier to get now, but I know it was like the re-release came out not too long ago, and I think it's only like a $30 book now, but I know they don't do digital copies of it. But it's a 700-page book, and I've heard it's just like when you read the premise, it's like, oh, okay, whatever this is, and then you read like all around the book, it's like, oh, this is just like some kind of book, normal like kind of mystery book, and then you open it and read all the quotes. It's uh like it's all over the place from like this is the most romantic love story I've ever read to like this movie will or this book will make you want to kill yourself. It's so scary. I'm like, what the fuck is this book? And I still have zero idea what it's actually about. I know it's like a
Yeah.
first person perspective.
And some of the you have to turn the book around to read some pages and stuff.
Yeah, that there's like it's kind of puzzle
Yeah.
so I'm
I'm reading
fascinated
about
by
it
that,
now.
and that'll be my January read because it's it's a 700-page book.
Yeah. I'm into it. I'll give it a go.
Prepare for that.
709 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, the genre is horror fiction, satire, romance.
I mean, so I mean, it does have everything I like in it. So I am like fascinated to just like get into it, and but I know it's not going to be like an easy like you just pick up and read book. So I do need to prepare myself for whatever it's going to be, which might kick my ass a little bit. It looks like the hardcover she got me was like $35. So
Oh, it looks
that's
like
a lot.
that my local library has it. I'm going to put a hold on it right now.
Oh, yeah, get it, and we'll read it in tandem and try to explain it to people.
Yeah. This could be our podcast for a few weeks.
Where we just where we try to explain a book to people.
Yes.
I love that idea. Us trying to explain books to people. That's very funny. Well, I don't know what else you have. What else?
Why is it called His
on?
Names? Like it's Mark Daniel Lazowski's House of Leaves. Why is it not just House of Leaves by Daniel Linsky?
It's a great, incredible.
I guess we'll have to find it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, besides that, it's just been me just trying to survive. Things are crazy. I'm scared most of the time. I'm sad a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well,
been exercising a lot to run away from the sads. Does anyone else do that?
Yeah, I think we all try to do that. I think even if you don't know you're doing it, like taking your dog on extended walks or something like that, like just trying to chase some good chemicals,
yeah, I've been so many like projects I just create. Like this whole room needs to be redecorated, like and then just start doing that. That's about it. Like I'm trying to think of. I did see Invisible Man finally, and I was not really a fan. I didn't understand the draw of that because I know a lot of people really loved that like version, and I like what they're kind of approaching it, but it just felt really clunky and lazy to me.
Yeah. I know I told you my feelings were like I think those same themes. Well, I think it needed to be like scaled down a little bit. Some of the repetition happens, and like the people doubting her for most of the movie. And I know it's supposed to, like, I think I told you, it was like, this movie should be called Believe Women, which is good if it were made by a woman. And it just feels like it's like, so trying so hard to hit that nail on its head, which it does very quickly. And then it just becomes long. It feels like long in the tooth by the time we get to the end. And it's like, come on, man. Like, there's so much weird shit happening in this that somebody's got to believe it at some point. And like,
that's what got me, like the theme that they chose and all that, like believing women and that, like the domestic abuse and that whole stuff. That's an interesting take on this, but there's so many leaps of logic and like so many, like, I couldn't disbelieve, like just couldn't suspend my disbelief for a lot of what they were doing. And like the logistics of the little like optic camera suit and all that stuff was just silly. It just I don't know, didn't work for me.
Yeah. It's I think it's a good, it's much better than, like, I guess I didn't see the recent Mummy, so I'm guessing it's better than that, but it's still like we're on the right track, I guess. Like, it's fine. I think they did it with a character that, like, who the hell loves the Invisible Man, really? So you can't really, and the last version of it was Hollow Man, so it's like it can't get much worse. And you can't.
It did make me want to revisit John Carpenter's Invisible Man. Is that any good? I remember that was fun.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Is that good?
I don't remember. Was that made for TV movie?
It feels like it. I don't know. I saw it when I was really young. It's Chevy Chase. That's all.
Yeah, and it's like a comedy approach, right? A little bit.
A little. That's serious for Chevy Chase, but yeah, it's a little like silly and slapsticky, I think.
Yeah, I think that's just like the nature of the effects and stuff also make it that. It looks like it's not well reviewed, so it could be interesting though. I think it was just like the time of Carpenter's career where things were just, he didn't really know where to go. And to be fair, like in the early 90s, like effects were like make it or break it for your movie. And I think probably his budget didn't work as well for him. But shit, man, well, maybe I want to watch this. The cast is great.
Well, and on the other hand, like John Carpenter's movies were not well reviewed at the time ever. Like The Thing didn't get good reviews, and that's great. So maybe it's worth a shot.
But I think you look at The Thing now, and the reviews have people go back and relook at stuff, and I think they update reviews. Like The Thing has 85% now.
Oh, okay.
And then this.
Did you just school me on critiques?
That's how it works, buddy. People update their things when it becomes popular to like something. Come on. Yeah. So I don't know what else I have coming on. I'm not. We'll plan a couple things. I think we talked about the Ed Gein thing, so maybe doing like the real story and then like covering like an episode of the movies that were inspired by him. That's an interesting,
big
pretty
one,
easy one. Yeah, that's a big one. But
that's a lot of movies.
That's a definite two-parter.
Yeah,
but we could do that. So maybe, who knows? I don't know. Maybe we'll do that next. That seems like a fun one to get into, and we'll do the trope of the creepy child. We promise.
Yeah, because that'll never. I mean, that's never out of style. We can always do this. There's always creepy kids out there.
Always creepy kids out there. Anything else you want to chat about, or is this little half-hour nugget enough?
Speaking of, I mean, this is probably enough. But like, speaking of creepy kids, did I ever tell you the time when my kid was probably, I don't know, 3 years old, and she walked into the room like playing with nail clippers, and she stops and she looks at me. And she says, "I'm going to cut your eyelids off."
What?
Yeah, that happened.
I think that's how we end this podcast, because that's terrifying.
Yeah.
All right. We'll expand more on that in our proper horror tropes episode about creepy kids. But it's good to be back, and even in the short form where we talked about just whatever the hell we wanted to
mostly
talk
your
about.
T-shirt, I think. That was the most of our podcast.
How tic-tac-toe doesn't make sense on my shirt. Well, Eric, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I miss you.
The half hour may be over, but the
hour still has 30 minutes left.
Yeah. There we go. This has been a return of the Nightmare Hour podcast. Remember, if you like this podcast, we have a decent amount of back catalog, but we'll be here all winter with you to get you through, to help us get through the cold months. We'll help you kind of get through them as well. And if you like it, let your friends know to check it out. If you have any ideas for future episodes or movies we should watch and cover, feel free to email us at nightmarehourpod@gmail.com. And you can find us pretty easily at Nightmare Hour Pod or Nightmare Hour on social medias. And that's it.
Yeah, you did it.
All right.
You got all that stuff in there. You're good
I
at
got
this.
it all. Somebody give me a
Okay.
raise. The Nightmare Baby may be over, but the hour keeps ticking.
Just
This has
lost your
been the
raise.
Nightmare Hour podcast. Okay, bye.
Nightmare baby. You just said the nightmare baby.
I didn't say the Nightmare Baby. Did I?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Okay. Shit. All right.